People often think that I start something then leave it halfway, but that's not true. Let me explain. When I started, I was uploading art history, then I added human anatomy. At the same time, I was doing some random sketches, so I thought why not record and upload those too. But now something new happened. Suddenly my interest shifted towards animation, and honestly, I don't know much about it. I only know drawing fundamentals, but animation, I'll be learning it from scratch, and I'll share that journey with you here. So if you were wondering why uploads were inconsistent, it's because I was preparing. I bought a new screenless tablet. I was learning the tools like software and the tablet. You can understand that how different it could be from traditional art. And honestly, my 95% of work is done with the tools. I know how the tools works. So yeah, I have to practice more and more. So yeah, now it's just about animation. Which brings me back to where I started. My life's first animation. If you watched my last reel, you already know. Right now my full focus is on animation. So I decided to do something big. Draw a scene, actually a very short film. This shot has been living in my mind for a long time because beside drawing, I have always been into filmmaking and storytelling, basically in visual arts. So first step, I had the scene. Second step, I created a storyboard. Here it is with around 3-4 sketches. I won't reveal the full scene just yet, but every frame has around 4 to 5 drawings per shot, not movement, just frames. Then I began the process, starting with the very first drawing of the very first scene. This rough sketch and these drafts. I won't be using them fully, they are just to capture the idea, because for the final shot, I'll draw something that feels like me. Like I'm drawing it and adjusting it according to me. Giving the liberty to be up until this point, it was all pretty easy. But what's coming next? I think so that's not easy at all. Because this is the very first drawing of the very first frame of the very first scene of the very first animation of my life. I have already created the storyboard of the animation. A very short film, which I have already told you guys earlier. Now I have started with the very first drawing. For the background, I have created a rough sketch of it on paper, which you can see. I have transferred it on the machine, starting with the clean outlines, done with the windows. Now table and stuff on the table, laptop, colors, mouse and room stuff. In the shades, I am giving the room a dull shade because the lights are off. It's very late morning, so lights are coming from the window. Doing the color and also details, the table, laptop, bed sheet, outside the window, etc. Now it's light and shadows on the stuff. Remember, it's background. It is very first small step of the process because we are getting closer. The next drawing for my very first animation is here. As you can see, I have started with the basic construction, setting up the perspective and structure. Then I moved to the clean but not crisp line work, getting rid of all those rough sketchy lines. Next, I added colors, the walls, floors, pillows, bed sheets and couch, slowly bringing the room to life. I cleaned up the scene a bit, added some shadows and small details like calendar and wall clock. Then came more shadows, and yeah, you can ignore this messy part. It's part of the process. After that, even more shading and finally cleanups to set the overall mood of the room. I'm adding this. Oh, and that green area, that's the background, which I have already finished in the previous part. Like, I'll remove this and I'll add that drawing over here, frame by frame. Can I actually finish this animation or not? Let's find out. This is the second drawing of the sequence. As you can see, I have started by sketching the lines and adding the familiar green area. It's because I will later replace it with the previous frame to keep everything aligned. Now I am cleaning up the rough parts and moving on to the wall colors. A calm blue at the bottom and a soft light yellow on the upper section. Next up, I am working on the door frame and adding some everyday home details. Time to bring in some shadows for depth and a pipe near the door to make the scene feel more realistic. I am blending the shadows, cleaning up the mess and adding more small touches because the highlight near the pipe is a curtain and a few homey items like clothes, bottles, books or other things that make a space feel lived in. I have just drawn today this much, but this drawing is not finished yet. No excuses, just one new frame every day until it's done. In the previous part, I finished the section of drawing that you are now seeing completed here. Make sure to check out that. Now I am on to fully completed this frame. As always, I am starting with the outlines, then moving into the colors of the door and the walls. Next, I am adding floor shading and small details to bring more depth to the scene. Here come all over shadows. Tough, it's still far from done. I am continuously adding more perspective and structure to the frame, refining it to match my vision. Now I am coloring the roof while simultaneously cleaning up the sketch. Moving ahead, I am working on the wall colors, adding details and extending the floor area that wasn't completed before. This time with extra care and precision. Then comes the everyday home elements, curtains and staircase nearby, all carefully adjusted for the correct perspective. I am working on stairs and doing it again and again until it's done properly. With proposition feel right, adding shading, blending and tiny details plus a partition between the stairs and the main part of the house to ground the composition. Next up, more shadows, more texture, giving the curtains life through colors, highlights and depth. I am adding everyday home touches, objects that make the scene feel real and lived in. And of course, the green area makes return. That's my placeholder to be replaced later during post-production/editing. Finally, after all that layering and refinement, it's completed. So that's how first animation. I am starting out by sketching the basic structural lines, laying down the foundation for what will become the entrance of a house. Once the structure feels right, I move on to clean lines, defining the doors, windows and all the small details that make a home feel real. Now I am adding a green background, a placeholder I will remove later in post-production. Then I bring the wall colors, keeping consistency with my previous drawing to maintain continuity across scenes. For the walls, I am using a soft light yellow for the upper section and a cool blue tone for the bottom. I love how they balance each other. While coloring, I keep refining and cleaning up the lines layer by layer until everything feels just right. Next, I am filling the doors and windows, defining the boundaries and blending in shadows for depth. Using a rough broad brush, I add fans to the window, just loose impression to suggest motion and realism. Then come the shadows from nearby building, subtle touch that bring the whole environment to life. I have been working on this project for quite some time now, putting my heart every frame, loving it, recording each step, learning as I go, even though the likes aren't there, and that's why